What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rex Ruger. That, of course, is the Freddie Mercury puppet. We are back with another banger of an episode. Before we go any further, I'll address the proverbial elephant in the room, as I do every episode. You're looking at the smoldering good looks, the luscious blonde locks. Yes, it's true. You are looking at the one and only love child of one Diamond David Lee Roth. And as a matter of fact, speaking of looks, I'm going to sneak a little gander myself before our guest gets in here. I'm only human, folks. I like to look at and admire beauty as well as much as anybody, even if it's on myself. And that might sound a little vain, but I'm sorry. Now we can get down to brass tacks, which, of course, is another incredible episode of Pod Scum. It's what we do, folks. And as I wait for my guest to get in here, we will, of course, do our shameless promotional spiel. Because as you all know out there, and as I've informed you many times, if you have a podcast, you have to pimp it. And it just so happens that my pimp hand is feeling very strong. So I'm going to give this a shot. Make sure to tap in to Pod Scum on Facebook. Our handle is Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Don't be confused. Both podcasts that I host. One Facebook page. Same with Instagram. Not going to try to trip you up. It's nothing tricky. Same handle. Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Say it with me, folks. Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. There. Now you should have it. And, of course, if you're here watching us right now, you are in the right place. This is where you need to be. Facebook, Instagram, yada, yada, yada.
Okay, that should be it.
Perfect. I was in the middle of my shameless promotional spiel, but I'm glad you actually got me out of it, man, because it gets monotonous, man, because when you have a podcast, man, you've got to do the shameless plugging.
Yeah.
And
it
is
definitely
shameless.
do.
It is shameless. You have to pimp it. You have to pimp it, as I always say, you know?
Yeah.
But I'm glad to have you on here, though, man. And
yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, and I guess being a hardcore fan, Overstand was really not on my radar, but courtesy of our mutual bro, Danny Marianino, you guys are now on that.
Thank you. And we're a new band, so you know, it's we're trying to get our name out there. You know what I mean? And you know, feedback that we have gotten has been pretty good so far. So
yeah,
you know,
it's an awesome album.
We're excited about it. Thank you.
Yeah, I've been bumping Taking Control quite a bit, man, and I like the fact that. And I like the fact that it's everything you want in a hardcore album. You know what I mean? It's catchy. It's anthemic. I mean, you don't got to reinvent the wheel when it comes to hardcore.
No.
Hardcore fans fucking, like what they like. And I think this is what they like.
Ideally, we just wrote music that we like. You know, I think every band pretty much does that, right? So,
right.
You know, and hopefully the people that hear it like it too. But if they don't, that's okay too. It's not gonna be for everybody, right?
Right. And so I talked to so many musical artists on here, man. So I usually kind of like to start like at the beginning because so many artists have that common backstory of having parents that were either musically proficient or they were raised in a household with lots of albums and music playing. Was this the case for you?
Well, there was always music in the house for sure, but nobody in my family really got too into playing music. Like my older brothers, both have kind of played guitar a little bit. Like my oldest brother, he back in the early 80s, he was like starting to learn guitar and stuff, and he didn't really go too far with it. It wasn't really his thing. He was more into like, you know, sports and things like that. So he kind of gravitated towards that more. Now, our other brother, who is a little younger than him, he went a little more with the guitar. So every few years he kind of picks it up and gets back into it for a little while. So, you know, I don't think he's played in a little bit, but you know, he's always got a guitar around the house. So like, you know, every now and again he picks it up, he plays, you know, and he just does it for his own personal enjoyment. He doesn't have like a band or anything.
Right. And so what drew you to the guitar as opposed to like saying bashing on a drum set or playing the bass? I mean, obviously I've talked to a lot of people on here that have played all the instruments in bands. And, sometimes they'll say that the instrument kind of chose them or it just, happened that they fell kind of ass backwards into it. Obviously, the guitar is a popular one because all kids want to shred, I think, or be the front man. You know what I mean? They are considered more like, glamorous when I guess you're getting into music.
I think I mean, listen, I'm no genius, so I may have this completely fucked up,
Yeah.
but I think that you know, the 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 frequencies that kind of appeal to the human ear
Hmm.
are sort of in that kind of guitar range. You know what I mean? So I
Yeah.
think maybe, just as a young kid, that was the first instrument that stood out to me as far
Okay.
as, like rock music or anything like that. And just not my oldest brother, but the younger one who I said did a little more with the guitar.
Yeah.
He's the one that I would really credit for exposing me to like heavier rock stuff and metal. So it was like through him that I kind of got into that stuff. So at a young age, before I could read, I was already, hearing, Sabbath and
Yeah. He's
Priest
corrupting
and
you.
things like that.
He's
Depending on who you
corrupting you.
ask. Depending on
Yeah.
who you ask.
And so, and so, what was your foray into? He's getting you into heavy music, man. But what's your
Mhm.
foray? Was there a specific album or an artist that kind of got its hooks in you and led you to the hardcore world?
Um, I'd have to say the band that probably, you know, turned me a little towards like harder stuff. Um, Probably Metallica Ride the Lightning.
Yeah.
So that came out when I was 8 years old, and when I heard it was probably 6 or 8 months after it came out, and from right there, I had really never heard. I mean, I was already into like Priest and Maiden and stuff like that, but they kind of took it a little further,
Sure.
and then that
Yeah.
made me, start looking towards, heavier bands. So I'd have to
And
credit
then,
that album. That was the one that was like, holy shit.
yeah. Yeah. And then what about like punk hardcore?
Uh, Early on, I would have to say probably like Circle Jerks, Bad Brains, Black
Yeah.
Flag. Those were the
Yeah.
ones I kind of got exposed to first, like around junior high school. You meet that one kid that, you know, uh, is into that. So, you borrow a mixtape from him or something. And then
Right.
before you know
Right.
it, like, you're like, oh, wait, what's this stuff? So now you start digging into that.
Yeah, I know. We're starting to date ourselves with these references. We're gonna have to take a pause for a minute so kids can go Google what the fuck a mixtape is, I think. Well, kids, back in the day, it wasn't just going to your phone. We had these things, called cassette tapes, which I do
No,
miss.
no, they know what cassette tapes are because that's like a little niche thing
Oh, it is true.
you
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. Right. Those kind of still are around in some way, shape, or form, I guess. Yeah. I
mhm.
mean, I don't think that every band is doing them every time they put out an
No,
album, but you can still get your hands on them, though.
yeah, actually, we did our first EP. We released on cassette um in the UK through Conviction Records,
Oh, I love
and
that.
yeah, so
Yeah,
it was our 7 song EP. I think they only made like 50 of them or something like that.
yeah. And
Um,
that was
but
self-titled, right?
yes, but I believe that release was titled 24-Hour Catastrophe over
Okay.
there, which is one of our songs.
Okay.
And so the guy that put that out, um, his father has been playing in bands, for decades. And when I was in Warzone, one of the European tours that we did, we played with one of his bands, this band Low Life. So he actually did the artwork for that.
Oh,
And he
cool.
was like, "Hey, my son has a cassette label that he does, and he's interested." So we just kind of worked it out from there, and we used that artwork from that T-shirt for the EP on cassette.
So, so take me, so take me into the world of how you meet Danny and how you end up in Northside Kings.
Okay, so Danny and I first met when he was in Cause for Alarm,
Right.
which was the very end of '97. Um, they Cause for Alarm had an EP coming out called Birth After Birth.
Mm-hmm.
And at the time, Warzone Fight for Justice was about to come out, like a month later. something like that. So this was actually right around the time that Ray B's was in the hospital.
Okay, so this is all happening. So this is all on the East Coast then.
Yes.
Yes.
So
okay.
there used to be this thing in New York City called the CMJ Music Showcase. CMJ was College Music Journal. You know, they basically did the reporting for all the college music stations. You know, as far as like the playlists and sort of who the up and coming artists were and this and that. So they would do this thing in New York every year where they had panels and a whole convention up at Lincoln Center. And then there were a bunch of venues throughout the city, over the course of, I think, like 4 nights, I think, that different venues would host different showcases. So labels would do showcases, or management companies would do showcases with their roster artists, whatever, you know what I mean? So there was a Victory one that was at the Pyramid. And I believe it was, I'm just going off the top of my head, so I may fuck this up, but I believe it was Cast Iron Hike, Cause for Alarm, Warzone, Hi-Fi and the Road Burners, and I think either Earth Crisis or Snapcase.
Both great bands.
Possibly Hatebreed, because this is also around the time Satisfaction came out.
Okay.
So Ray B's was in the hospital. Obviously, we couldn't play, but Cause for Alarm was there. So that's where me and Danny really kind of met for the first time. And then a few years later, he was in the city for Black and Blue Bowl. So we would just run into each other every couple of years. And then I had come out here in July of 06 because I was considering moving. And at the time, Northside Kings was recording their Suburban Royalty album, which is the last record that they put out. And Puerto Rican Mike did 2 songs on that. So he was in town. So I linked up with them through that. And then just once I moved out here, all these guys became, like very close friends of mine. And the second guitar player at the time, Ryan Butler, had left the band. He was in Land My Marathon, and they were starting to tour more and do more things. So I kind of jumped in that slot. And then, we just kind of petered out. And every like 5 to 10 years we'll play.
Yeah, right. Yeah, and I just recently had Danny on too, which is pretty incredible, right? I mean, you know, he's a children's author now. Well, I mean, he's an author. I mean, but I mean, it's just so great that he's doing children's books now, man. I mean, I get a kick out of that. It's amazing.
He's a very talented and very driven guy. I'm very happy for him and proud of him. Things that he's done, the books that he's put out, and I really love his partnership with Mick Lambrou. Mick has done some artwork for us as well, and he's become a close friend of mine. Yeah, and I love what those guys are doing.
Yeah. Now, are you in the vicinity at all, or present at the show when he smacks the piss out of Glenn Danzig?
No, I was still living in New York at the time. But I mean, I remember, the next day the internet went apeshit over it. All these message boards were going crazy about it.
Yeah. But listen, man, you don't put your hands on a guy. You just don't do it.
Well, you can, but then you have to expect that it's going to come back at you, right?
Yeah, right. So I mean, Jesus, man. And Glenn Danzig, man, and I know Danny likes to downplay it because I get it. It's not the only thing you want to be known for. And Danny's done some amazing books and projects. And
absolutely.
And, I certainly understand him wanting to distance himself from it, but it is kind of like the elephant in the room. You know what I mean? Like where it does come up from time to time. You know what I mean? So, I mean.
Really, because Danzig is such a known guy, you know what I'm saying? That
and maybe that's why he thinks he can get away with stuff like that too, man. Yeah, I mean, like maybe a bit of it is the pretentiousness and the ego of just thinking, "Hey, I'm Glenn Danzig."
I'm not even going to attempt to try to figure out what goes on in that man's head or any man's head. To be honest with you,
right?
It's not for me to decide or
scary place.
Figure out.
And so when this band gets together, Overstand, what is this band's creative process like? Is there somebody that kind of takes the reins when it comes to the creativity, or are you guys very collaborative?
Very collaborative, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, when the band started, the original four guys in the band, we were all previously in a band together.
Okay.
So we had been playing together for 10 years before that anyway. So we already, we already kind of, knew each other pretty well creatively, and we already, knew we could write songs together. So it was just this band is a little is a different thing than what that was. You know what I mean? So
okay. And so how are these songs usually crafted? Like, typically, what's the process like in terms of what comes first? All right, is it a title? Is it an opening line? Is it a riff? Where does it usually start? A great Overstand song.
Well, so when the band started, we actually got together right at the beginning of 2020.
Okay.
And we got, like 3 or 4 songs, 5 songs, kind of written, and then everything shut down.
Yeah, yeah.
So
the world fucking shut down. I know.
Right. So I mean, so those like 3 or 4 songs, we just kind of each had some riffs that we, sort of compiled together and figured out what worked and whatnot. And then obviously once the pandemic hit, everybody had a lot of free time, and we had this rehearsal room that we pay rent on. So we said, fuck it, let's just get in there and let's just keep writing songs. So, we would get together and, put riffs down, and then, record them. And, sometimes, something would just come together right away.
Right.
Other times, we'd have these different like songs that we, steal riffs from to put into other songs. And, that's I guess what's good about the technology that's available today is that with like GarageBand, you can do this type of stuff. It's a lot easier than, fucking around with a 4-track,
right.
30
almost
years ago.
Almost like you can piecemeal the stuff together, take the bits and pieces, and
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, just through that and just having a lot of time and to play together and, even play at home and come up with stuff, everything just kind of came together pretty easily.
And do you guys sit around as a band and have the discussion about how many songs or how many minutes you want an album to come in at? Because I always see, and I brought this up with other artists, whenever I see albums get reviewed nowadays, and these different sites go on and give their feedback, their critique of albums, it seems like one of the big things that always shows up in these reviews is how long an album comes in at. Maybe that has something to do with attention spans not being what they used to be, us, digesting music differently than we used to with streaming platforms, and it being a track by track world and people making up playlists on their phones or whatever. But do you guys sit around and talk about that? Like, this album comes in at 10 songs, 24 minutes. That's fucking lean and mean right there. Lots of songs, but yet a nice trim fucking amount of time. It just kind of, it's like a sonic beatdown, and then you guys are fucking out of there.
I don't know that the running time of the whole release is as much of a concern for us as, say, each individual song.
Okay.
Listen, we're not trying to put 5, 6, 9-minute songs, because listen, people got short attention spans, so
they do. Yeah.
You got to kind of get the song going. Yeah, maybe have like the mosh part or whatever, and then get out before they get bored.
Yeah, right. You got to show them your goods right away. Yeah.
And then also they get that little breather after the song. If us two, shit, we're all in our late 40s and 50s. So
yeah. So you guys do talk about how many tracks you want to be on an album, though.
Yeah. Well, to be honest with you, I think another concern for that is what can we feasibly do before we run out of money in the studio?
Right. That's big. Yeah. That's
big. So that's a big factor with it as well.
But you guys do like to go the LP route as opposed to EPs?
Well, we have one of each.
Okay. But you know, in today's music landscape, you know, do you feel like one works better than, you know, now that you've done one of each, do you feel like one works better for your band, or are you open to just continuing to do both?
I think just open to just doing both.
Yeah.
Depending on what you know. Um, do we feel like having a release come out a little sooner? Then yeah,
Yeah.
maybe an EP. Um, but also I kind of liked uh that kind of unwritten formula of like like a 7 inch and then
Yeah.
a full length. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I kind of like that we did that.
Where are you with obviously touring, playing live is certainly a big component of what musical artists do. What's your relationship like with touring? Obviously, you know, there's a glamorous side to, you know, traveling, seeing the world. But then I talk to so many musicians on here, and there is kind of a cutoff point, man, like where like enough is enough. You know, they're out for a certain amount of weeks or whatever. You start to miss the stuff that's comfortable, your creature comforts, home. You know what I mean? What's your relationship specifically like with touring, and where does the band stand on touring?
So I mean, look, it is very easy to get fatigued on tour.
Yeah.
Be it physical, mental, emotional, whatever, right? So I I think now approaching 50, um, I don't necessarily want to be on the road for like 8 weeks.
Right. I get it. Yeah. Yeah.
But you know, we haven't been presented that opportunity yet. So, I'd like, I'm saying what I think, I would do in that situation, but if an offer was real, I don't know, I might be into it.
Right, but what does feel like a comfortable itinerary? Because I hear a lot of artists on here say that when they get to about that 3 or 4 week point, you know what I mean, you know, that's kind of when they kind of want to rein it in.
Yeah, I think 2 to 4 weeks at a
Yeah,
time is good because you know it's a good run, but then maybe you don't get to that point where tensions are starting to rise,
right,
in
you're
the
right,
band
exactly.
and
Sure. Yeah,
all of that. So I don't know. I mean,
I feel like two to
yeah,
four weeks is kind of is kind of the wheelhouse with it that I hear echoed on here quite a bit.
yeah, and then go and yeah, I mean, depending on how busy a band is, then go home for a week or two, and
Yeah.
then go back out. Whatever it is. If you can make that work, uh, go for it, right?
So what's the
Um,
contribution? What's the contribution? You know, I certainly want to put some shine on the other guys in the band, man. Can you talk to me about your band members and what they bring to the table individually?
oh yeah.
You know, the other guys that are in the group.
So we actually just got a new drummer
Okay.
a few months ago. A guy named Brian Daly.
Okay.
Um, we've known him for several years. He's played in a few other bands here around town, and bands that we're friends with, and some that aren't around anymore, of course. But
Right.
um, when Ren was leaving and we had to find a drummer, um, his was a name that kept coming up. So we got in with him, and things just kind of progressed from there. So our original drummer was a guy named Ren. Actually, both of these guys are from Jersey.
Oh, okay. East
Uh,
Coast guys. Okay.
yeah, yeah. So, um, and Ren's been out here, I guess, about 20 years, 15, 20 years, something like that. And he's played in some other bands. And then he had also joined that band that me and the other guys were in previously. So, like I
Okay.
said, we were already, familiar with each other. And, we got um, basically these first two releases written. And Ren was having some nerve issues in his hand that, playing the stuff we're playing, ended up being kind of painful
Yeah.
for him. So,
Yeah.
um, so he didn't want to leave the band, obviously, but he was like, guys, physically I can't do it, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
So he's still our brother. He's still family with us. You know what I mean? Actually, we were all just hanging out with him last night at La Armada, Murphy's Law, AF, and Strung Out. So
Oh, nice. Nice.
yeah. So what was I gonna say? Roy, bass player, also plays bass with the Outlaw of Any Stigma country project.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Jeez, man.
and and he was also in Roger Moret and the Disasters.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
and phenomenal bass player.
Yeah.
Phenomenal bass player.
Yeah. I guess you'd have to be if you're playing with those legends. You have to be. Yeah.
And you know, and one thing I will say that as a hardcore band that you don't really see as much are bass solos. And
Yeah.
so playing with Roy for the last 15 years, you know, I encourage him to throw bass solos in occasionally.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Why not? Sure.
yeah. So, you know, there's that awesome one on Big Takeover, you know,
Yeah.
that Daryl does,
Yeah.
you know, and so kind of that was my thing. I was like, you don't really hear too much of this,
No, let's
you know,
bring them
have at
back.
it.
Yeah. Why not? Why not? And then what about this guy who's singing for you?
And
Amazing. Ben.
great,
Yeah.
great voice, great voice.
Yeah.
Also, tremendous lyric writer.
Yeah.
Like in my life, I've tried to write lyrics, and I'll think I wrote some you know, some powerful shit, and then read it again like 3 days later, and I'm like, what 12-year-old wrote this?
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
I think that's pretty standard, though. You know, I've written stuff. You know, not music wise, but I've been in that same boat, though, man. You know what I mean? Like where like you look back and you just think like, yeah, at the time it seems like a masterpiece. You think you wrote fucking Stairway to Heaven, and then you look through 3 days later and you're like, Jesus Christ, what is this?
mhm.
I guess we all go through that. I mean, but you know what? I also think that we're
Yeah,
probably our own harshest critic, though, too. You know?
agreed.
Yeah. You know,
Agreed.
I mean. And so, are we leaving anybody else out? You know, we talked about Roy, we talked about Brian, the drummer, we talked about Ben,
That's all of us, and then me.
and you, yeah,
Mhm.
and so, so talk to me a little bit about. So you guys are based out of Arizona, man, and I've had other musicians from Arizona on here. What's the music scene like in your area?
There's a lot of bands out here.
Yeah,
Plenty of places to play. You know, so any bands that are on tour coming through the Southwest or the West Coast, come to Phoenix. You know,
yeah, yeah. So Arizona is so. So is it just a good music scene, or in particular, you know, with extreme metal, hardcore scenes?
yeah, there's something for everybody out here.
Yeah,
You know, anything you want, really. You know, musically, there's a lot of really good venues out here, and I'm talking across all genres of music.
yeah,
You know, there is some good music coming out of Phoenix. So, um, as far as like hardcore bands are concerned, uh, you got Hard Luck,
yeah.
Skin Ticket, um, Ex Mientras, Iron Rain, Beyond All Doubt, Get a Grip.
So it's a thriving scene then out there.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Hmm.
Let me ask you about your own guitar playing. Are there a couple names you could throw out of guitar players that you feel like have had an impact on your own playing?
Yeah. So I'm not really like you know any like a shredder type of guitar player.
Yeah.
You know, I absolutely respect and admire that stuff, but I think you know a big influence on me as far as guitar playing was James Hetfield.
Okay.
Just with like you know, I mean that guy, you know, his down picking is insane.
The best.
You know,
Yeah.
and he made, if we're being honest, he made rhythm guitar cool.
Yes.
You know,
Yeah.
especially at a time when it was all about like these shredders and you
Yeah.
know
Guitar heroes.
it was Eddie Van Halen and Randy Rhoads and then
Yeah.
you know all those guys in the guitar magazines, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you know he made like riffs like writing good riffs and
Yeah.
being strong on your right hand with your rhythm, you know, I really looked up to that.
Yeah.
And I think I took more from that. And that's probably also why I really embraced playing bass so much once I got into that. Because I started as a guitar player, but then at one point, I was playing guitar in Warzone, and we needed a bass player, and we were just having trouble finding somebody. So I was like, well, fuck it, I'll play bass for now until we find somebody. After a few months of that, I was like, hey, I'm kind of digging this. So, you know,
So is that what you identify as, a guitar player or a bass player, or do you feel equally proficient on both?
uh, I'm probably a better bass player than guitar player, I would say.
But what are you playing in
But
Overstand though? In Overstand, you're playing
guitar,
guitar. Yeah,
guitar.
yeah.
I,
Okay,
I
okay.
I enjoy both,
Yeah,
obviously,
yeah.
but I think I'm a stronger bass player than I am guitar player for sure.
Are you the kind of guy who likes to put all of his eggs in one basket, so to speak, and be in one band? Or because I know you mentioned that you're in that ballpark of 50 years old. I'm 52 years old as well. So I'm always amazed, though. I have guys on here with boundless energy, and obviously can find the time to do it. 4, 5, 6 different fucking bands. I'm always amazed by these guys. I applaud it. But are you the kind of guy that just has a singular focus? I'm in a band and this band gets all my attention, or do you like to be in multiple projects?
Dude, if I was independently wealthy, like won the lottery or some shit,
Yeah,
I'd have a different band for every day of the week.
yeah,
You know what I mean? It just comes
right.
down to time and money.
Yeah,
And, like with my work schedule, the only time I can really afford is to overstand. Now, I mean, if we were going to do like a Northside Kings show, yeah, I could fit that in for a few weeks of rehearsals and stuff like
right,
that.
right.
But, as far as, you know, trying to do two bands, you know, in my off time from work, that would be really difficult for me.
Yeah, yeah. And again, I'm always amazed by these guys, man. And I've had some guys on here, but they're just, have got their toe, like I said, in like 4, 5, 6 different projects, and I'm blown away. I mean, I part time do a podcast and have a day job, and I'm fucking wiped. You know what I mean? Like like these guys are just, they're out there grinding, and they're on this album, and they're going on this tour, and they're going here, and they're doing this. It's amazing to me.
Oh, and believe me, there's probably 30 guys I can name right now that I would love to start a band with.
Yeah, right, right.
You know,
If it wouldn't have been music, well, first of all, how early on in life did you know that you were going to lock into music as somewhat of a career? And second part of that, did you have aspirations on doing anything else when you were younger, man? Like, was there a dream of how like when we're kids, we want to be a fireman or an athlete, or I mean, like was there anything else that could have been a career path?
I kind of wanted to do music, but I
Yeah,
also, it wasn't lost on me that, you know, uh, the uh, attempt to success ratio of music is pretty far apart. You
yeah,
know what I
yeah.
mean?
It's a tough,
So,
yeah, it's a tough career to break into for sure. Yeah,
um, and look, if it was that easy, everybody would do it.
no
But
doubt. Yeah,
there's not enough room for everybody, right?
right.
So,
Yeah,
um, yeah, ideally, I would have liked to have done that. I mean, it's just, I guess music always just, always affected me just in that way where, I always wanted to be listening to it, you
yeah,
know, like
yeah.
when you're a kid, one of the greatest things ever is having a Walkman, right? Again, I'm
Oh yeah,
dating myself.
yeah,
What the fuck is a Walkman?
yeah, yeah, yeah. I
And,
guarantee the kids are googling that now.
probably. So, um, so yeah, I mean, even so much so that, you know, maybe I was sitting in class, with like one earphone in, you know what I'm saying?
Of course, of course. Who was it back in the 80s? Yeah, absolutely. I was too. I mean, you know, obviously, uh, you know, Walkmans were like Walkmans were the fucking shit back in the day, man. I mean, before anybody had AirPods or any of this shit, man, we were rocking fucking Walkmans, man. I'm gonna shout out the Walkman right now as possibly like one of the greatest inventions, music inventions, man, for kids in the 80s, man, that there ever was. Popping cassettes in those little fucking things and throwing on your headphones, the best.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah, an absolute fucking gem. And so for you, you know, if I had to play devil's advocate and like you had to go to a desert island and you only had to take one hardcore album, is there a hardcore album? Man. Is there a hardcore album that means a lot to you?
Okay, today, and probably most days, I'd have to say probably the Roar cassette.
Okay. That one means the most to you. Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of the to me, it's like the blueprint of hardcore.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. I just had John Joseph on the podcast, legendary singer of the Cro-Mags the other day, and he says that that's the correct answer as well, that there's nobody better than the Bad Brains. Nobody.
Well, you know, especially when you look at how many bands that came out of the mid 80s, late 80s, and the 90s that were, you know, super popular, they all cite Bad Brains as an influence.
Right. And I was trying
what I mean?
And I was trying to heap praise on him because I've had a lot of guys come on who say that the answer is Age of Quarrel by the Cro-Mags. And I didn't want that to be lost on him because I wanted him to be aware that, hey, I've had a lot of people come on and say that your album is the fucking correct answer to that question. But he acquiesced and said, in my opinion, it's the Bad Brains, which obviously because they impacted him quite a bit.
Well, I think you have to, you know, also look at it as that album was heavily influenced from the Bad Brains Roar cassette, right?
No doubt. Oh, no doubt. And I think I think even John would cop to that. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, those guys have a big imprint on his life and the Cro-Mags for sure. Yeah. I mean, you know, how could they not? You know, and then even when I went further and I asked him about as a frontman role models, you know, I mean, HR, he instantly went to HR, so he couldn't say enough about the Bad Brains, man. I mean, you know, just the impact on the career of him in the Cro-Mags. So I mean, that's pretty high praise, you know what I mean? And that and that does seem to be a common theme because when I've had other hardcore guys on here, man, you know, the Bad Brains is a reoccurring thing. So obviously those guys did lay the blueprint for a lot of people.
Yes, 100%.
So you picking that album to take to a desert island, man, what is it specifically? Can you put your finger on what that album means to you?
Well,
obviously it speaks to you on some level.
So here's the thing. I when it had come out, I had, you know, I was like 7 years old, I think.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, I wouldn't have been familiar with it at that time when it was current. But when I first heard it, it was, you know, again, one of those, what is this?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like it was fast. It was precise. Like the vocals were, you know, super aggressive and super melodic, you know, and this, you know, insane range, you know.
And then suddenly they'd slip into some reggae shit. Yeah, I mean.
And then you see a picture of them, and it's not what you're expecting.
Right. Yeah. And I think John, when I interviewed him, he made a great point as well because HR and the backflips and how flamboyant and mesmerizing of a frontman he was. But you know, John Joseph also made the point though that just the whole band is fucking great. You got to give them all their props. Doc, Daryl, Earl. You know, what I mean, they're just fucking a great band.
I'll tell you right now, as a bass player, there's a bunch of shit Daryl does that I steal.
Yeah.
Like shamelessly.
Yeah. Well, I
But
mean, obviously, imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, they always say. I mean, if
yeah.
you're going to be ripping people off, you want to be ripping off the best, I mean, why
Oh,
not?
absolutely.
You're naming great influences, Hetfield and, the Bad Brains or whatever. So, I mean, you at least got to be cognizant enough if you're going to take parts of stuff, take parts of the best shit, right? I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. And 100%. And then it just, the precision that they played with too.
yeah.
Like when you watch, old live videos,
Yep.
it's amazing.
It was
You know?
loose, it was loose, but yet it was extremely fucking tight at the same time. You know what I mean? Like there was a
Hmm.
looseness and then you're sort of like in irreverence about it. You know what I mean? Where it felt kind of dangerous, but yeah, you kind of felt that it was like a controlled to dangerous. You know what I mean? Like those guys knew what they were doing. It was calculated.
There was a resonance among the whole band
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
they were very much a unit.
Definitely. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And so talk to me a little bit about, this last album, Take Control. Just dropped it. It's only like
2 weeks
matter
old.
of a couple of weeks. Yeah, a couple of weeks old or whatever.
I'm sorry, no, 3 weeks old. 3 weeks old now.
And so first of all, as I mentioned, 10 songs, 24 minutes. It's just it's just a freight train, it fucking just bowls you right over, man. Are you happy with the finished product?
I am very happy with it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so what was the recording process like, man? Like, was it, how fast do you guys punch an album like this out?
We sort of, we had a certain amount of days, like 3 or 4 days, like to track everything. And then from there with the mixing, it was like 2 days here, a day here,
Yeah.
a half a day here,
Right.
so I couldn't, I'd love to be able to tell you, a range of hours, but I really have no idea as far as that's concerned. But we did it with a guy named Zach Rippey, at Signal Sound Audio. He also does a lot of live sound, so he goes out with Converge and Gate Creeper.
Okay.
And I think also Nails he went out with, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, we did it with him, and he was a pleasure to work with. I really liked his process. I thought he got some good performances out of us,
Yeah.
and I was generally very comfortable in his studio, and with the way everything went.
And even though this album, as we just mentioned, is only a couple of weeks old, because it seems like artists now, and again, this probably has to do with the dwindling attention spans, the being able to put your stuff out there on the streaming platforms much easier nowadays, and maybe coupled with the fact that people don't want to be yesterday's news and forgotten about. They're able to put tracks out, singles out, EPs out, just keeping their names out there. How fast do you guys think about the next project? I know this one is only a couple of weeks old, but how soon would you guys like to be hitting us with another project?
I think we're looking at doing a split with a band from a town here called Knife's Edge.
Okay.
Who also just had a record come out.
Yep. I see you rocking the shirt. Yep.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Yep.
So yeah. I think we're gonna look to get that out at some point in the first half of 2026.
So you guys already have songs written, or you have songs left over from this album that don't make the cut?
Well, so during the pandemic, we wrote somewhere around 20-25 songs.
Okay.
And 7 of those ended up on the first EP. And I'd say probably 3/4 of Take Control are those songs, and then a few others that we, were brand new ones that we wrote.
Okay. And when songs make it to the album, Are you guys a band that, because you write a lot of songs, how do you decide what makes the cut? Is that a democratic process? You know what I mean? Like,
Oh
let's say
yeah.
you're sitting on 15 songs and 10 of them like make it onto this album. Is it put to a vote, or do you guys just know as artists, man, hey, these are our 10 strongest ones? Yeah. Who makes that call?
Yeah, we sit down and talk about it, and
Yeah.
which ones we feel are the strongest, and for the most part, I'd say we're usually pretty much in agreement on it. It's maybe half of them we're out the gate we're all in agreement on, and the other half maybe we have to kind of vote it out.
Yeah.
But yeah, generally that.
And where do you guys stand on videos? Are you guys like a big band on videos? Like, I know they're like a promotional tool. People are watching them on YouTube now rather than
Mhm.
Headbangers Ball like we did back in the day. I mean, we're
Right.
watching them on smaller screens, but I do still see a lot of musical artists making them though. As a promotional tool, as a visualizer, so people can see the band or whatever.
Mhm.
Do you guys plan on putting stuff like that together?
We actually have 2 videos out from this record already.
Okay.
We
Okay.
have one for Short Fuse State that Puerto Rican Mike guests on,
Yep.
and then we have another one for the title track, Take Control.
And do you like the process, the whole video making?
Uh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's. I haven't done a whole lot of it. Well, I haven't done a whole lot of it in bands that I've been in, but I've actually been at a lot of video shoots, to be
Yeah.
honest.
Yeah.
Like now that I think about it, uh, yeah, I think videos are fine. I enjoy watching them. Like whenever a friend's band or a band I like,
Yeah.
if I say, oh, they got a new video, I'll check that out. You know what I mean?
It is a good marketing tool too.
Hmm.
It is. It's
And
it.
listen, and some of them are done really well. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? That
Yeah.
that you know, where uh, they had enough of a budget to kind of do something that looked really good, and
Right.
a director that had a good vision and everything.
That's the
And
key. Yeah.
that's something that we try to do as well. But we're very much a self-funded band, so we also have to you know set some boundaries for ourselves
Sure.
financially with it, so
Right.
that uh, uh, we can do something that looks good for what we have to spend, and not really step too far out of that.
And who is the person in the band? I'm glad you brought that up, man. Is there somebody in the band who kind of takes the lead when it comes to the business side of stuff? Booking tours, dealing with business type stuff.
I'd have to say we all kind of kick in and take on some different roles when it
Yeah.
comes to that. I mean, it's not. I wouldn't say that it's necessarily this guy does this thing and this guy does this thing. Um, I think it's more on sort of um, a case by case basis
Yeah.
where uh, so these 2 East Coast shows that we did, I booked those, so I was kind of the point person on that for dealing with promoters and production and that kind of thing. Um, Whereas, on some other shows, one of the other guys might kind of take the lead on that.
Right. Right. And now you did have a couple of guest spots on this album. I want to shout out the people that popped on your album, and maybe you can shed a little light as to who these people are and what their contribution was. You've already
Hmm.
mentioned Puerto Rican Mike a couple times. Who is
Yes.
Puerto Rican Mike, and what's your affiliation? How does he end up on the album?
So Puerto Rican Mike is most people know him from as a singer of District 9 and one of the singers of Scarhead.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I was in District 9 for a long time.
Yep.
So me and Mike have been friends for 30 plus years. So he lives here in Arizona. He's been out here on and off for about the last 10 years or so,
Okay.
and maybe a little longer than that. and you know, hey, you want to come down and get on this song? Sure. You
Easy
know,
as that. Yeah.
yeah, and you know, he's my brother. I love him. So you know, and anything that I can do that involves him, you know, let's do it.
Okay.
You know,
Okay. How about
um,
Ephraim Schultz?
so Ephraim sings for Death by Stereo,
Okay.
and he also is one of the singers in Manic Hispanic, and he did some time singing for Voodoo Glow Skulls as well.
Okay.
But I
Okay.
don't believe he's in the band any longer.
Are there any potential people that you'd like to do these guest spots on future albums? You know what I mean? Is there a wish list or anything in the works that you could elaborate on, or anybody that you might even seek out to be on an Overstand album?
Uh, not not at the present moment, but
Okay.
you know, I'm sure, you know, once we start looking towards, you know, another release or full length, you know, we'll kind of talk about that and see,
Yeah.
you know, because also it's, you know, who do you think's gonna fit well on
Right.
a particular song, right?
Right. Right.
So,
Yeah. And that is important. That is important
mhm,
because you know, obviously the album you know, has got a feel to it all the way through. You know what I mean? And you want to
yeah,
stay consistent with that. You know, uh,
mhm,
and and so you know, obviously getting back to our mutual affiliation. Obviously, you know him much better than I do, but I've had the pleasure to have him on my podcast a couple of times. I love Danny. Obviously, a lot of Danny's books, especially the one that I love, and Danny knows the one that I really love. It's called "To Make
mhm,
Matters Worse," which is a lot of
yeah,
self-effacing humor.
uh-huh,
A lot of him picking on himself.
yeah.
You know, do you have a particularly good anecdote or funny Danny story?
Oh shit. Uh,
I'm sure you probably got a plethora of them, but is there one that particularly stands out? And that's one thing that I do admire, Danny, is the fact that, you know, he'll take shots at himself. He's very funny, very self-effacing. You know, I appreciate that kind of humor. If you can't have a laugh at yourself, I mean, you know, then you're taking yourself way too fucking serious in this life.
trying to think. I there's a million, but you know, like I'm drawing a blank right now. Um, hmm.
Maybe anything funny that he's done around you or even said to you, a piece of advice, anything. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, you know, he's obviously like a walking source of material all the way from his childhood, and he bears all that in his books, which you know, I love.
Yeah.
Actually, I told him that I knew so much about To
Hmm.
Make Matters Worse that I just had him on a couple weeks ago. I literally told him, I want you to come up with a quiz question and see how well I know that fucking book, man. And he couldn't stump me. He asked me one question, man, and I knew the answer to it.
Oh
Yeah.
shit. All right.
Yeah. I
Um,
studied. Hey, listen, I studied that book, man. Listen, I know Mr. Marinino, man, probably more than I should. But I love that book, though. I do. I love
yeah.
that fucking book, man. I mean, I love his other stuff too. Don't Ever Punch a Rock Star when he got all that hate mail from the Glenn
Hmm.
Danzig incident. I mean, yeah, you know what I mean? And that's what I think that's what I like the most is that there's humor, man, but there's not, there's not this concern about coming off like, you know, I'm the cool guy in every situation. Because obviously he tells a lot of stories where, you know, it's embarrassing stuff that he's sharing.
Yeah.
You know?
And that is a great book, by the way.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I last read it, so
Yeah.
I'm probably due for a read. Actually, he did an audiobook of that one, I think.
That's the one I
So
listened to. To Make matters
that
worse, I had the audio
okay.
version because
All right.
I had a
Well, then
couple
that's
of
what
eye
I gotta.
surgeries. Yeah,
Mhm.
I had a couple of detached retina surgeries, man. So I love to read. It's gotten a little harder since those surgeries. So audiobooks have been a godsend. And
Yeah.
thankfully Danny narrates that too. So you get to hear him actually
Yep.
telling the stories, which makes it a lot better.
Oh, 100%.
You know?
Yeah.
So you got to have something with Danny, though.
Oh shit. Huh.
I mean, you've been on tour with him even.
We've never
Or played
actually quote
shows
unquote
with
been
him.
on tour together, but I mean
Yeah,
we played shows, you know,
yeah.
together, of course. Trying to think. Well,
Did you just freeze? Or are you really in that deep of thought? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
2018, I think. and somebody happened to catch a picture while we were on stage of Danny jumping, and the way that his leg, the way his legs are in the picture, right? I I want to say it was Luke that did the first one. He's like silhouetted it and started making memes with Danny. Like somebody made one where Danny was like a kite, you know, and there's a whole bunch of if you look, I think it's on the Northside Kings Facebook page.
Okay.
It's from 2019. There's like a shitload of pictures from that of just people like making their own
Of Danny's
and
leg.
yeah, of Danny jumping, you know.
Which I imagine, man, Danny being a pretty big guy, man, is no small feat. Because I know I'm 6'4", 250 pounds, and
Oh shit.
I'm not getting off the ground without some airline tickets, man. Not these days
Yeah.
anymore. There's no jump into my future.
Yeah, your knees are probably already done.
Those days are over. Yeah, those days are over. Yeah, I'm not running or jumping unless I'm being chased by something fucking ferocious. That's pretty much over.
Oh, listen, my older brother just had a like a tendonitis on his Achilles,
Yeah.
and so he had to like go to therapy for and this and that. So he went for some follow-up appointment with his doctor, and he's always been a very active, working out kind of guy, playing sports, that kind of thing. And he's 62. All right.
Yeah. Yeah.
He says to the doc, he's like, all right, so how long before I can maybe go for like a 2-3 mile run? And the doctor was like, you're 62.
Yeah.
Let it go.
Never. Yeah. The answer is never. Yeah.
You're done.
Yeah.
You're not going for a fucking 3-mile run. Okay.
Yeah. Time to do some mall walking.
Get yourself some Hoka sneakers and start walking.
Yeah, walking is
There you
much
go.
safer. Yeah, it is much safer. Yeah, a lot safer, and probably a lot less wear and tear. And he's got to protect that injury now. I mean, I work in the healthcare field. My day job is as a nurse. I'm not a doctor. I'm not here to diagnose it or whatever, man. I don't have a PhD or anything. But I would say, man, if I were to give someone a piece of advice, though, that at that age with tendonitis, man, time to maybe dial it back a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard nowadays because we just can't replicate what we used to do. And I see it happen with bands all the time too. And I think it's an unfair and an irresponsible comparison. Like when you see these old legendary bands on YouTube and people just want to run them down because they can't replicate what they did 30 or 40 years ago. Granted, I think some of them might stay at the party a little too long and maybe they do need to hang it up a little bit and they shouldn't be out there taking people's money if they can't deliver the goods. And I don't know if they should necessarily be taking people's money and using backing tracks. And I'm not a musician, but I hear these terms, all these smoke and mirror tricks that they fucking pull on people where it's not really the band playing or, they're piping in some pre-recorded shit or whatever. I don't know if that's necessarily right either, especially if you're representing that you're playing live, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if that really feels good to do to the public either, but
no, I mean, and there does come a point where, somebody's got to say to some of these guys like, hey man, it's time.
Yeah, there's too many. Yeah. It's like some of these people got too many yes men around who probably are still telling them, no, you still sound great. You still got it. You still got chops,
Yeah.
I know for a fact that there are bands out there, and admittedly, I'm a huge David Lee Roth fan. I mean, I banked this whole podcast on claiming that I'm the love child of David Lee Roth. I just went to see him a couple of months ago because he came here through upstate New York at the casino doing the solo thing, which is pretty much his whole set is his era of Van Halen music. And he doesn't have it anymore. I think I wanted him to have it, and that's why I fucking paid the money and actually went, man. But he does not have it though anymore. It's sad. You know what I mean? But I mean, he had it once, and he's fortunate enough to have even had it at one point in his life. You know what I mean?
Sure.
In the 80s, he was, and I don't think he's ever on record anywhere saying that he's the greatest singer of all time anyway. Certainly a great showman and a great front man or whatever, man. But what little ability he did have to sing even back then, though, man, is long gone,
Yes.
It is.
Yeah.
And I think some of these people are just staying at the party a little too long, staying on these farewell tours for years and years and going on and on with it. It's
yeah. I listen, I'd like to think that if for whatever reason, I ain't cutting it you know, whatever, that at least one of my close friends would be like, look, man,
Yeah.
I know you have fun with this, but
Yeah. Yeah. It might be time to pull the plug. You might be embarrassing yourself a little bit or something. You know what I mean? Yeah. Like you want someone to be that candid and honest with you, though. I mean, you need people like that in your life, you know?
Yeah.
You know? So before I let you out of here, for people that want to tap into Overstand, I know everyone's out there on the internet somewhere. God knows I was telling you that you have to fucking pimp your podcast. So I mean, I'm sure it's the same with a band. You want to get the word out, you know what I mean? Especially since
of
you
course.
guys are kind of a new band. Where's the best place to tap in if people want to find out what's going on with Overstand?
At overstand_music on Instagram and Overstand on Facebook. I think that's our only social media currently, but there may be a TikTok or something, you know, in the future.
Instagram seems to be the place you have to be. And for a while when I was doing the podcast, I was neglecting Instagram too, and I was only promoting the episodes through my Facebook. And then my son and a couple other people got in my ear and said, Instagram's where all the fucking people are going nowadays. You know what I mean? So I mean, you kind of got to have a presence there, like a little bit. So I have tried to take little snippets of these conversations and try to use them a lot, like we were talking about the music videos. I try to use them to kind of like, you know, promote the episodes. You know, it is another useful tool. You know what I mean? I'm not jazzed about spending all my time on social media and having an account for this and an account for that. People have asked me a bunch of times, well, you do the music podcast and you do the boxing podcast. How come you don't have a separate Instagram and a separate Facebook? I can't be bothered with all
of that.
Fucking crazy.
Listen, man.
Listen, I tell people on this show all the time, I say, I promote both fucking shows on one fucking Facebook account. You know, if I'm putting something out with either show, you'll find out about it on the same Facebook. It's a one handle, Off the Couch Boxing and Pod Scum. That's it.
Right. So, and you know, to be honest with you, probably twice a month, I consider deleting, you know, my Facebook and my Instagram and just being done with all of it.
Oh yeah. If I didn't have the podcast, I wouldn't be on social media very much. And even now, admittedly, when I do use it, it's usually only for podcast purposes. It's to let people know a new episode dropped. And outside of promoting the podcast, I do try to share little things that are going on either in the boxing world or in the music world. If a new album dropped, if an upcoming fight has been announced or something, but I don't really post too much about, like, you know what I mean, like what I had for fucking dinner or where I'm going tomorrow night or whatever. I try to keep my personal life off of the social media, really, you know. It's more just about a singular focus. Okay, I'm letting you know, like, if an episode is dropping, who's going to be on it, or an episode just dropped, or, you know, that kind of stuff. Social media is really turned into, I don't know what the fuck it's turned into, but it's pretty toxic. It's pretty toxic out there nowadays. You know, everyone thinks I think now, because social media is so prevalent, that everyone's opinion matters and everyone's an expert on sports or an armchair fucking politician, or, you know, everybody knows a little something about everything. And they all think now that because they have a keyboard in front of them, you know, everybody wants to know their opinion on everything, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's, it's pretty divisive.
It is. Yeah, that's a good word for it. Yeah, very divisive.
There's definitely it's almost like it gives people this this soapbox to stand on, right?
Yeah.
And look, a lot of the things that a lot of people have opinions on, people are not qualified to really have a good understanding of whatever it is they're talking about.
Right.
So I try to not talk about anything I don't really know what the fuck I'm talking about.
Right. Stay in your lane, people. Yeah, stay in your lane.
Know.
Right. That's our public service announcement here at the end of this. Stay in your fucking lane. Or people just get out there and they're just regurgitating something that they heard on the news, or something that a family member or some view that they're going to attach themselves to, and they're just going to get on there and just beat a dead horse and just fucking try to ram it down people's throat. You know what I mean? Because they believe it.
My thing is this. I'm trying to make my life less complicated.
Yeah.
So the last thing I'm going to do is argue with anybody on the internet. If you're a shithead, you're a shithead. You know what I mean? There's really not much I'm going to be able to do to change your mind. Just get the fuck out of my way.
Right. And I think social media has done exactly that. You know, I mean, it's opened up this Pandora's box where people can just go on there and just spew whatever they want and feel important and feel tough and feel like, hey, look, I'm going on and speaking my mind and saying whatever I want. Yeah, that's easy to do behind a keyboard when you're not face to face with somebody. You know what I mean? I think John Joseph, I had a great term the other day, man. He said that there's a lot of keyboard commandos out there. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, people that are just, you know, people that feel safe inside their own home, being able to type this stuff because, you know, I mean, back in the day, if you had a beef with somebody, man, you know, you aired it out right in person with them. You know what I mean? Now it's made it kind of easy to hide and as you said, be divisive and, you know what I mean? Like, you know, throw your little barbs out there from the safety of your own home without much repercussion, you know?
100%.
You know? It's safe nowadays. Yeah, it's safe. But listen, man, congratulations. This is a fucking awesome
thanks,
album, man. Yeah,
Appreciate
yeah.
it.
And
Thank you so much.
Fun. Yeah, it was really fun chopping it up with you. Stay in touch, man. Whenever you got anything going on, man, you're always welcome, man. You got a platform here for sure.
100%. Thank you. Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, it was really a pleasure, man. And as soon as I put the episode up, I'll send you the link so you can share it around on this fucking god awful social media that we have to be a part of.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it was good talking to you, though, really.
All right. Thanks, Rexx.
Yeah, appreciate it, Todd. Thank you.
All right.
Good
Thank
talking
you. Have a good
you.
one.
Later.
Later.
And there he goes, folks. Todd Hamilton. That was an enjoyable conversation. And I do want to encourage people. And you know, when Rexx is going to throw out a fucking suggestion for you guys, open your fucking ears and listen. I really want you guys to tap into a hardcore band called OVERSTAND, which obviously Todd is a member of. But they have just dropped an album called Take Control, which is a mere few weeks old. It is fucking awesome. It is everything that I love in a hardcore album. Just a sonic beatdown, catchy, hooky, fucking punk rock, hardcore songs, anthemic, sing-along type. Throw your fucking arms in the air, man, and just fucking get into it. This is hardcore done fucking right. And again, this is just one man's opinion. Hardcore done right the way I like it. But I think old school hardcore fans this album is really going to resonate with them. Again, the album is Take Control. The band is OVERSTAND. And I think people are really going to fucking dig this album. Do your boy Rexx a solid. Go support these guys. Great bunch of dudes. And they have put together a fucking stellar slab of fucking hardcore slab. I'm saying it like it's a fucking album. But if you're into the physical product, I'm sure there is a slab of it for you out there. But I'm streaming it because, you know, I've fucking caved into this whole, you know, that's how I'm. Listen, full disclosure, that's how your boy Rexx is listening to his music. Okay, I'm not going to perpetrate like I'm this fucking diehard vinyl guy. I'm keeping it real. I'm not. I'm streaming like the rest of us fucking sad sacks out there. But I have been bumping this OVERSTAND album a lot, and it is fucking killer, man. So please go check it out. Again, Take Control by OVERSTAND. Fucking lean, mean, killing machine. 10 songs, 24 minutes. It melts your fucking face, beats you the fuck down, and then it's out. So you guys can spare a fucking 25 minutes of your fucking lives for some fucking ass-kicking hardcore. Do yourselves a favor. Listen to your boy Rexx and go out and check this album out and support these guys. Go check them out on social media. I'm going to do my spiel now like I always do. Be a good fan. If this is something that you're into, go get on a mailing list. Go sign up for a newsletter. Go fucking check out a live show. Pop some merchandise. Be about it. If you're into the scene and you're into an artist, be a good fucking fan. That's what I have to fucking say, like I do every episode. Trying to make sure that our musical artists are out there getting the support they richly deserve when they're giving themselves, you know, giving so much of themselves creatively. You know, they're pouring their blood, sweat, and tears into this stuff in a fucking studio, and they're churning this out for themselves, yes, but hoping that that, you know, people out there also gravitate to it and it resonates with them in some way, shape, or form. So, and I think this album will. It is really fucking good. So again, I'll go into my promotional spiel because I think I got most of it in before Todd jumped in here. But again, check out PodScum on Facebook. Our handle is Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum. Same with Instagram, Off the Couch Boxing and PodScum. As you heard me tell Todd, I don't have separate accounts for both of my shows. You'll get updates on both on that Facebook and that Instagram, and that's it. And you'll also get much more. As I told Todd, I do like to put other things up other than just promoting the episodes and the guests. I do put cool stuff up there. If it's popping off in the music and metal world, or if it's popping off in the boxing world and the fight game, I try to put stuff up there that is newsworthy and noteworthy when it pops up on my radar. So other than being entertained, hopefully you'll be informed, and I can keep you guys in the loop when cool shit is going down. And of course, if you're here right now watching, please like, subscribe, and smash that notification bell. Instagram, Facebook, all fine and well and good, but this is where you need to be to tap into that fucking amazing content that we are bringing you every single week, these incredible conversations. So lock it in. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to hit that notification bell, and you will be privy to when new stuff is dropping. Again, I want to thank today's guest, TODD Hamilton, guitarist for Overstand. And again, please go check out their music. I appreciate all the viewers. I appreciate the subscribers. And of course, at the end of the day, ultimately, my guests, without whom I could not do this. You guys make it possible. At the end of the day, I'm just a fan. So I'm always blown away by people being generous with their time when they pop up on screen. You know, I'm like a kid in a candy store at the end of the day. So it's a big deal for me and a privilege to get the chance to do this, man. Hope you guys enjoy this episode. Again, big thanks to TODD Hamilton for joining me today. And until we get together and we do this thing again, and it will be soon, you can rest assured of that. This is your boy, Reckless Rex, reminding you to take it easy and keep it sleazy.